what does professional golf look like if Tiger Woods never existed? What does it look like today?
That's a good question.
Diet Trent,
Like,
man.
yeah, when I first met him, it was like, wow, you guys look similar. And now people meet him, they're like, wow, he's a skinny version of you.
Yeah,
like,
how much weight? Kyle, how much weight have you lost?
55.
Fuck.
So far.
Just from what? Give me your keys.
Here, I'll turn my camera on.
He looks so much like Trent.
What's up?
Hold on, let me just turn my camera off here.
No, literally just.
Maybe we just had Kyle on.
and
People would notice.
Being
Dude, if I
super strict with
lost
calories,
55 pounds right now, oh, sorry, you cut out. Keep going. What are your tips?
Oh no, literally, I was just saying, just literally light exercise, like golf, walking, and shit. But then I just am very strict with calories. Just like I know exactly what all the calories are. You know,
no
what I mean?
beer.
I track them all day. No, I don't really drink that much anyway. I'm more of a Truly guy.
That helps.
Beautiful. Well, you look fantastic. You all look fantastic. Welcome to the fore-play golf podcast, brought to you by Barstool Sports, presented by Chevrolet. You could stick on whatever you want to do, Kyle.
No, I'm going to go. See you guys. Bye.
All right, see you. Yeah, we're just rolling right into the show. Kyle Timms is one of our producers. He looks unbelievable. I was calling him Diet Trent before. That's no knock at Trent. It's just they were identical twins, and Kyle has lost 55 pounds in the matter of a couple of months. Every time I see him pop up on a screen or at a video shoot, it's startling to look at, because when someone makes that big of a transformation, it's nuts.
If I lost 55 pounds right now, if 55 pounds dropped off of my body right now, I would still not be like what I weighed in high school. Like I have gained so much weight since then. I know there was a time period when I first moved to New York, I lost a lot of weight. I got down to like 220. Boom, went right back up because I ate so much sugar. But welcome back to Frankie Borelli. Hey, you haven't been on the show in a while. You made a minute.
Oh man, I have a lot of questions about.
I want to get to it. I think we should start with that. Frankie is back. I was gone for a little bit, and you were gone for a little bit as well. You went to Ireland, which is awesome. Man. Tell us all about it.
You know how I get swept up into things. I'm very dramatic. I get very emotional, specifically on big vacations like that. I really take it all in, and I really get swept up in the whole entire deal. Ireland is a fantastic country. I had an amazing time from the second we got to Dublin Airport to the second we got back to Dublin Airport. There was not a single day. There wasn't a single meal. There wasn't a single view that I would take back. I'm telling you right now, I don't know that we could have had a better 7 days in Ireland. It didn't rain. It was 70 degrees. We went to the Cliffs of Moher. It was like people were surfing on the West Coast. It was, I honestly thought that I was in Hawaii for a second. It was like 71 degrees with a very faint wind, and people were surfing on the crystal blue waters of Galway and all of these like Western Coast cities. It was phenomenal.
Dan, you're muted.
Dan's muted. Dan's outside. He's at the Kingdom right now, the greatest place on earth, TaylorMade Kingdom.
Yeah, I just got a fitting from Trotty, which will I'm sure be up on our channel soon enough. We're playing a little match this afternoon. 9 at Mine is back. My question for you: so you had a pretty interesting Ireland trip in that there was kind of minimal golf involved, right? Like, how much did you play? You played 9 holes or something?
Played 9 holes at this castle, Ashford Castle, which I could get into that place. I got a million messages about what's your itinerary. Same thing happened when I went to Italy. I posted all these pictures that I'm very proud of. You get all the nice angles, you get all the colors popping, and everyone's like, I want to go to that same exact place that you just put up on your Instagram story. So I do, like, basically we went to Galway, we stayed at this place, the Westbury. I'm sorry, we went to Dublin, we stayed at this place, the Westbury. Phenomenal start. 5-star
Well, first of all, the
hotel.
flight from New York to Dublin's not that long, right? I mean, it's
basically
closer.
like going to California. I mean, it took like 5 hours, 5 hours and 25 minutes.
That's
I mean,
insane.
you really don't need to do anything crazy with your seats. You can sit in a regular seat and act like it's nothing's a problem with it. So it's a cheap flight over. You get to Dublin, really easy. You do customs in America going both ways. You do customs in America going there, and then you do customs in Dublin going back. So you really don't have to deal with that bullshit coming back. It's an amazing experience. Going there and coming home is so easy. We stayed at this place, the Westbury. Highly recommend. Great little hotel in the middle of Dublin. Beautiful city. A lot of people were like, Dublin's going to be your least favorite part. I loved it. I don't know if it's because it's the first place I went. I felt the same way with Rome. If it's my first vision of the country, I fall in love with it. So I really love Dublin, the old pubs. You go to the Temple Bar, they're playing music everywhere. You go see the Trinity College. There's so much history. It's just stuff that we don't have over here. There's so much old shit.
History is a different scale over there.
Oh,
you walk into a bar like the Brazen Head, it's like on the front, it's like 1100 is the year. And it's like, you can't believe you're walking in the same pub that people were drinking in. You could tell that it was from the 1100s. Like, what does that even mean? From the 1100s, it's insane. So went from there. Then we had a guy drive us over to this place called Ashford Castle, which is about 40 minutes north of Galway. And it's not 5-star, it's like 30-star. I don't know what they do over at this place, but you actually feel like you're royalty. Like, there's only 80 rooms in this place. They're right on a lake. The lake has like 300 islands going out where you feel like you're in a video game looking out at like someone that built built a lake that has all these like tree filled islands all the way in the distance. And you just see them in the distance in the fog. Like I said, we had perfect weather. Every morning you wake up, there's like boots outside your door and there's like a jacket if you want it. And you can go walk with like the Irish wolfhounds, and you can go through all of like their forest area and check out all the brooks and the creeks and all the bridges. And then you can go to the falcon school, and a falcon will land on your arm. And then you can go over and you can shoot things and pheasants and everything. It's just like, it's not real life. You know what I mean? It's not, you feel like you've entered another dimension at this place.
That's like what the royalty used to do for sport in the summer. Like, that's what you were doing. Yeah.
Right. Like the Guinness factory owned it in like the 1700s, whatever it might be, whenever they came around. But like, it was built in like the 1100s as an actual castle. The Guinness family bought it. Guinness, by the way, I've never seen a brand dominate a place more like Guinness. Every little pub has the Guinness logo on it. They own that country.
What I didn't realize is Guinness, in this is what I was, the guys, people were asking me, how is the Guinness? And I'm just thinking that just means like, how, I don't know, it was a Guinness. It turns out like Guinness is very different based on where you have it. And so like the Guinness in Ireland, yeah, it's like something to do with how far it travels and stuff. That's like a pretty common question. So I imagine the Guinness over there was fucking pure.
It's phenomenal, and you don't wake up with hangovers. That's a whole nother story. When you come back from Europe, I'm not pumping Europe's tires. I'm America 1776 till I die. President's Cup, as you can see the hat. But there's something that we're doing over here with the preservatives and all that shit that makes you feel like an asshole in the morning.
Yeah.
There's something about eating that food over there, especially when you're at a small pub that they can't get the boxed food, the preservatives. They don't even need the preservatives because whatever they have in that kitchen has got to be gone that night because it's going to go spoiled. They don't give a fuck about preserving anything. So like, whether that's the beer, that's the food, you could just feel a difference in the next day. Your body's like, oh, like, we are organisms of this earth. This is food that we have produced, and then you are now consuming that. We feel pretty good. Everything's now going smoothly, as opposed to, oh, we just had a box of Cheez-Its and cotton candy. I don't know what all this is. Let's send all these cells to like the shadow realm, and now you have cancer. You know what I mean? Like, it's
yeah.
Like, there's definitely a difference between what's happening between the two places.
Well, I think they've got to put stuff over here. They've got to put some sort of chemical in things that make it last longer, because it'll sit on the shelf. It'll sit there forever. Then you get it. Then you eat it. Like you're saying, at a place like that, they're growing it. They're cooking it. You're eating it. You're shitting it. It's gone. Like that process. Now things are they got to keep it. They got to sell a lot of it. And if they don't sell it, it's got to keep for a little bit. The chemicals over here, I think they're probably starting to put out documentaries about it that I will not watch because it'll just freak me out. But there's got to be something to that where they're putting all these chemicals and these colors and these sugars, and then we eat it, and like the cancer rate in America is astronomical.
So you just feel better. I had maybe 8 to 10 Guinnesses a day, waking up with zero hangover. You feel good. It goes down smooth. It's a light beer, even though it's a dark amber like color.
It's pretty thin consistency.
This episode is presented by Chevy. Get the crew together and head off to the golf course in the new 2024 Chevy Traverse. With impressive cargo room, 3-row seating, and the first ever Z71 trim, Traverse can handle your buddies and their golf bags with ease. You never want to be that guy that doesn't have enough room to fit your buddies or the golf clubs. It's such a ridiculously sour feeling when everyone's trying to get together. Oh, you guys want to go to this place? Oh, yeah, let's get in Frankie's car. No, sorry, guys, I can't fit anyone. We're going to have to take an Uber. Come on, man. Be a man. Get that 3rd-row seating. Get that big, nice cargo room. With the new Traverse, you can do something you've never been able to do on the golf course. That's drive hands-free with the available Super Cruise hands-free driver technology. And with a standard best-in-class, this is my favorite part, 17.7-inch diagonal color touchscreen among 3-row SUVs. It's the standard best among all those SUVs. AutoSense Power Liftgate. Traverse has elevated its tech game. Plus, you don't have to leave anything behind because the redesigned Traverse offers best-in-class max cargo volume and seating for up to 8 passengers. Not to mention the RS comes standard with a one-touch automatic second row and power folding third row. So head over to Chevy.com/Traverse to build your own and learn more. Chevrolet, together, let's drive. And then just to finish off the itinerary, after Ashford Castle, we went to Galway, an amazing city. I would pick Galway over Dublin a lot of the time. It's like a college town. It's a whole entire street with a million different bars. The flags are everywhere. You feel like you're in traditional Europe. You can't believe you're there. The music's playing in every single place. Fish and chips. Everything's phenomenal. All that was great. We stayed at this place, the Galmont, because Frankie ran out of money towards the end. Ashford Castle really was a lot. But we stayed at just like a regular hotel in Galway. It was great. But it was funny. Like we went from like having people like shine your shoes and like walk around like, and then we went to the Galmont and it was like a walk up to the hallway to the door. And I turned to my parents. I'm like, we ain't at Ashford no more. All right, like I don't know why I finished the trip this way, but we ain't there no more. But they had the time of their lives. That's the thing I wanted to get to, and then we'll be done with this and talking a mile a minute. We talk a lot about traveling and being with family and all this stuff. It's just special, man. Like, and I talked to my dad about this on the phone yesterday. There's certain things that you just gotta do in life, and traveling is one thing. Like visually seeing something is cool. Like going to Ireland, like you're knocking things off your bucket list. But for me, traveling is like, what's the point of each day? Like let's say you die tomorrow. Like, what did you want to do in your life each day? It's to have a good day each day. And for me, traveling incites a good day. Like it's a good, fun day. Like I'm smiling ear to ear. I'm having a good time. Like, yes, not everyone can travel all the time, but like there's a reason why vacations are vacations, right? You're going to someone else's home. It shouldn't be that exciting. People live in Ireland all the time. They live in Galway. They live at the Cliffs of Moher. So it should just be just a regular day, but it's not. There's something about that change of pace, that change of scenery. I'm with my mom, my dad, I'm with Hannah. We're just like all just happy for 8 straight days. Like that's what life is all about. That like happiness. It's not necessarily the money that you spend or whatever, but it's just that feeling each day. Like that's the thing you have to keep doing.
Yeah, it's new experiences. I think a lot of it is the people. I think, especially my experience, because I just got back from a trip to the UK as opposed to Ireland, as we've discussed in detail on this show. But I think when you go over there, they speak the same language. So, and you're able to communicate 100% freely, but it's different. The way they talk is different. The way they refer to different things is different. The way they communicate is different. And I just think like the difference between, okay, I can speak this person English, they understand, but we also kind of have to learn each other. That's always a really like fun experience. And you make these connections that you don't expect to make.
Just setting an itinerary and like having the excitement for each day. For someone like my dad, he didn't think he was gonna be able to go because of the surgery, and then we switch it. And then like each morning, he's not going to the restaurant. He's not doing his same routine. He's not going to Restaurant Depot, and he's not serving a million pizzas for like a little league baseball team. He's waking up and he's going to a pub and he's walking the street. You don't even have to do the most extravagant thing in the world. You just have to just be in a different setting. That's what life is all about, is moving and experiencing new things and waking up and being excited for that day. It's such a nice feeling. And then you come back and you're excited to be back in your normal routine also. It's like it's a mechanism that keeps on moving. And then the lead up is exciting, right? Like you could be doing your same routine. He could be going to the restaurant. My mom could be doing the same thing, but they're like, we're going to Ireland in a month. It's nice to always have something like that on the schedule and then to be able to do it. So that to me was the really special part. I was really taking it in each day. It was awesome. It's a really, really fun thing being able to travel with your parents. So, yeah, I mean, it was great. We played just 9 holes at Ashford Castle. It's like, it was one of those places you could just go out and play. Really cool history there though. Like Rory got married there. So they like shut the whole place down. A lot of the golfers went out there and played. They played this 9-hole track. It's a really, really fun course. It's a parkland course where you have views of that amazing lake I was saying. But they don't preserve it as much as we do. They don't put all the chemicals in the ground. I guess like at Ashford, they're like environmentalists. So like it's very natural. Like the greens were really rough and thicker, and there's not much fairway. It's like just everything's kind of cut to the same length. So it was a different style of golf, but I really enjoyed it. It was very rogue and I don't know. It was just very natural. You know what I mean? Like you could play a place like Liberty National, and then you can play that, and you're like, how is this the same sport?
Yeah, it's a lot more minimalist over there. Golf is just sort of like it's almost like a park. You know, you just kind of go and use it.
Felt like a
also,
park.
I also think like in Ireland and Scotland and a lot of these European countries, the people kind of work to live. And there's that whole pub culture of like, you know, in America, it's like, it's kind of a thing to go out and go to the bar. Maybe there's a game on. They just kind of go and hang out. It's just embedded into the culture in a way that it's not here. And I think it's because the cities are smaller. You know, there's a lot more walkability. And especially when you go into like Dublin and Galway, like it's part of the daily life. In America, it's like you go to gym, you go to your house. There's just way more of a pub social scene.
We went to this one pub in Dublin, and I sat down, and the bartender was talking to us, and he gave us all pints of Guinness, and I said, what should I say instead of cheers? Like, what do we say? Like, what's the thing? And he turned to me, he pointed right at me. He's like, don't you fucking ever ask that question again. Say whatever the fuck you want before you drink your own pint of beer. He's like, don't ever go to a place and like have to try and like bend to their rules. He's like, you just fucking come to this pub and you be yourself and you say whatever the fuck you want. You teach me something to say, I'll teach you something to say, and we'll all just drink a beer. And he took a beer and he like slammed it against me. We both popped one down. I was like, that's intense, but we're having it was such a, like you're saying, they just like, they don't give a fuck. They just go there. They have a great time. There's nothing. They're not walking on eggshells. They tell you how it is. It's just very raw. It's like, it's exactly how it probably was 600 years ago. They don't have anyone walking and be like, what's the polite way to say cheers in this country? He's just like, fucking drink that beer right now so I can get you another one. Don't ask me that.
What on this menu is gluten-free? What can I get in here that's gluten-free?
This guy would have murdered me. He would have murdered me.
Yeah, that is nice. I do think, and that goes back to what you're saying about traveling and how cool it is, but it's also a good lesson in that when you get away, like America's so interesting, it's so weird. It's definitely weird now. Like it's gotten weirder. It's a strange place. But when you grow up there, you don't really notice how strange it is. But when you go travel to a place like that and it's different, it's kind of nice to know that not everywhere is where you're from. Because there's great things about America. There's a lot of great things, but there's some bad things. And when you go over there and they're not walking on eggshells, there's not a gluten-free part of the menu. Like there's just like a little bit more like, hey man, we've been around for thousands of years and it's worked out okay. I know it's got a crazy history, but we're still here.
Yeah, no, it's very refreshing. It's fun. And they treat tourists great there. So I couldn't recommend it any higher. Italy's still my number one just because it's Italy. I don't know that really any place I'll ever go will ever change that. I had such a great experience there, but Ireland is very much number two for me. It's almost like 1B.
Did you tip and be like I love being the American who tips, even though it's like the culture.
The tipping was driving my dad insane. My dad gets crazy tip anxiety. He wants to over tip every single person he's ever been around. So he couldn't accept the fact that like if you just like had Apple Pay or something and you wanted to get a pint, they would just scan you and then they would leave away. There was never an option for hitting the button for 20% or 50%. Even at restaurants, it was just like they'd come over with that scanner and they would just scan your card and they'd walk away. My dad would be like, get back here. Like, how am I adding, like, when am I writing that 20%? Like, they don't give you that check that has a line that says tip. So like you have to tell them before they scan it, like, hey, add, it's almost more awkward. You're like, hey, add 20% to that. You know what I mean?
Is it that the wages are higher? Is that what it is? Or is there just not a tipping culture?
My dad asked one of them, he's like, what's going on over here? And the guy's like, it's not that wages are higher. It's just, it's the culture of you're going to get a tip if I think you deserve a tip, which is something that's kind of turning here in America too, where you go to Target and essentially they'll make you tip the guy if I get a thing of gum. I go pick out the gum, I go scan it, and like, do you want to leave $1? You're like, why the fuck would I leave $1? This guy works for Target. It's insane. He should have like a 401k at this place. So it is getting insane at this in this country, but it's just you have
I think the labor laws are different too. I think it's most of the people are employees, so they get their like health, or they get their healthcare through the state and stuff, so they're less reliant on tips.
They definitely have, like a server at a restaurant definitely, I would assume, gets more out of that than they would here, where they're more reliant on tips. But it's just the culture. It's like, we asked one of the drivers, we're like, what do you do? And they're like, yeah, like a tip is a tip. Like, you know, if you really think that the person deserves it, you say, hey, throw this on there before you scan it.
Right.
So,
Here
I can assume they get
it's
crushed.
if you don't tip 15%, you're an asshole, which I agree with.
Yeah.
But if over there it's like you got to earn it, it's not as like ready to go. You're getting this no matter what.
There's some places that will add it to the check, which is nice. Like if you go to like a really nice place, they know that they don't want to get boned by tourists and stuff, so they put it in there. But like local pubs, it's really hard to, especially if you don't have cash or coins or whatever it might be. Like it was just hard in a busy place to like leave the guy a couple dollars after getting a beer. It was like, it was a whole entire thing. He'd scan it and then move. It's like, all right, I guess that beer was just $4. I don't know. I'm just going to leave. You know, it was very different.
Did you find yourself craving to play golf at all? Or were you like, was that, being so close to everything?
It was driving me a little bit crazy because there was zero wind and there was zero rain for the entire week that we were there. We went to Connemara and we got out of the car and we walked through all these incredible areas. The sheep are going, the hills are flowing and the rivers are going through. And I'm like, how are we not playing, like La Hinch today or something, like one of these like incredible golf courses on this Western coast. But it just, I don't know. You know what? The other part of me, that I started to feel this. I was like, when we went to the Cliffs of Moher, we saw those incredible views and we saw all the cliffs going into the water and the wind was blowing and the blue skies. And I was taking all the photos. And at one point I said to myself, I'm like, I'm happy I'm not hitting a little white ball around looking for it and like getting all tired and frustrated. I'm kind of getting the feel for this terrain and these views in this country. And I don't have to get frustrated. Like, so typically when you go to a place, I've always said you have to play golf to see the best views in that area, right? You go to Pebble Beach and like that. If you go to the Pebble Beach area, the best view of that area is like the 7th tee box at Pebble Beach or, 17 at Cypress. Like one of those, like you have to go play the golf course to see the waves crashing against the cliffs. In Ireland, there's really not much, land that's developed on the coast, so you can really just like drive a car all the way up to like where the land ends and you can kind of like sit on a bench and get that feel. You know what I mean? You can really get the feel without having to nip a wedge or skull something out of a bunker or whatever. It was nice to not have to struggle. It was just very relaxing. It was a relaxing week. Yeah,
that's really nice. Your parents have a good time. I know that was kind of the reason you went. You were sending me and Brendan videos of your dad that were hilarious. He was hot todding around in white pants, which was amazing.
He was truly on another level. I mean, my mom really, it was like her dream to go there. She's very like Catholic, religious, and like for that, like all the churches and even like the Westbury. We stayed in the Westbury. She grew up in a town called Westbury, and then like St. Bridget's is where she was married. We went to a St. Bridget's church. Like there was a lot of connection there, and she had the greatest time of her life. Like we took her to places, these churches that had a lot of meaning to her, and it was awesome to see, like just tears flowing the whole entire time of just walking in. Like she's like this like diehard. It's almost like I'm a diehard fan of the Yankees. She's a diehard
Catholic fan.
She's a diehard like Padre Pio girl. This guy Padre Pio.
Padre Pio.
And like yeah.
Okay.
And we went to this one church and it was closed. It was right next to the Jameson factory. And like I was like, why don't we walk into the side door? It said like something Padre Pio. She's like, what does that mean? We walked in and like this lady inside this little booth was sitting there. She's like, oh, the church is closed. She saw my mom. She's like, but do you want to like pray with this box? My mom's like, what? And it was like Padre Pio's gloves that he would wear to like heal people, my mom was able to hold on to them and go into this private room and just like be with them for a little bit. And this is like, and then she came out and in her wallet is like a picture of Padre Pio. And I'm like sitting there, like, that's just so weird. You know what I mean? That was like such a weird, crazy moment. It wasn't on the docket. It wasn't on the itinerary. We happened to walk by it. We were waiting to get into the Jameson factory to go get shit faced. And we end up holding Padre Pio's healing gloves. But it was just cool for her. It really was. And then my dad, of course, hysterically crying the whole time, watching her cry. And he's wearing floral clothes inside these old school pubs. We walk into a pub that was like 700 years old. My dad had a pink shirt on, white pants, and a Barstool transfusion hat on.
King.
I'm like, you just can't make this guy up. You cannot. He didn't wear a single outfit that didn't have Barstool on it the entire trip.
There you go. Did you get into any discussions about their views on the English?
I made the mistake by posting that Ashford Castle. I said, I feel like I'm in the Crown right now. And so many people responded to me saying that's just not the right show of all the shows. Just don't talk about the Crown or anything like that. Royalty. But again, you felt like you were royalty, and also fuck them because I was in like the Prince of Wales room. So there still was like that old English.
It was like, part of it for a while.
Yeah, like we were in the Prince of Wales room, and it was like the George V dining hall. So I mean, I don't know, it was still pretty English. We didn't get into all that shit. There was one driver that kind of told us about the famine and like the the atrocities that had happened. He kind of glossed right over it, though. He didn't really want to get into it. I did learn a really cool thing about these because I had to say the word leprechaun at one point over there. I was like, so I said, "What's up with these?"
Give us a little leprechaun history from Irish.
I said, "Is that like an Americanized thing?" And he like laughed. He's like, "No, this is like." So there's these, and they had such strong accents, I sometimes couldn't understand them. But there are these. So basically, you drive through a place like Connemara or on the way to the Cliffs of Moher, like all the way on the coast, and you see all of these incredible farmlands where there are these stone walls that are enclosing all of these lands in, and it's endless. And there's small little pieces of farmland. It's not like driving through like Iowa or something where it's like endless amounts of farm where you don't know who owns it. Like you can almost see each little property right there in front of you, and there's sheep and there's cow on every single one, and they're all completely cleared out. So green, there's no dirt anywhere. It's so overgrown of like beautiful green grass because it rains so much, and it's such perfect environment for grass to grow. Like it's just incredibly, it's not burnt out at all. It's everywhere. It's just green. And there'll be this one little tree just in the middle of a perfectly mowed down, completely cleared out land. And the driver told us that it's this white, and I don't know what the name of the tree is, but it's like a white something tree, and it grows a white flower that will bloom once a year, and it'll be a beautiful flower on this tree, or a beautiful whatever. Obviously, I don't think it's a flower, but and the idea is that it's like a fairy tree that if you cut it down, you're like you're basically like damning like the leprechauns or the fairies or whatever it might be, and you're gonna have like bad luck. So they keep it there because when that white stuff moves, like it almost looks like fairies kind of bloom off of it. So you'll look around and you'll see these incredibly expansive lands of farmland, and you'll see these just trees that are like untouched in the middle of all their farmland, and they don't want to touch them. So they might be these like old school, like rough, like Irishmen that are out there drinking.
But don't touch the fairy tree.
Don't touch the fairy tree. Do not do it. And he told me the one driver told us a story that his coworker was a driver, and he was taking this family on a pretty long trip that was going to take him like 2 or 3 days to come back. And his son decided to clear out his dad's land for him. He had bought a new like fucking chainsaw, whatever it might be, and he chained down a bunch of like, bushes and trees, and the guy came back and noticed that tree that he had never chopped down was taken down. He lost his mind. He goes, "Why'd you do that?" Now this could be an old folk tale. This guy might tell this story to every single person, but he claimed that it happened like last year. And he came back and he goes, "Why'd you cut down that tree?" He's like, "I don't know. I didn't really know what was going on." He's like, "That's insane." So a month later, that guy dies in a car crash.
Jesus. That's not what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know whether to laugh or cry.
No, but it solidified this guy's belief in these damn trees. He's like, it's a crazy thing that we believe in, but like we have these stories and all these horrible stuff that happens when people touch these damn trees that we keep them. So I don't know if this guy was pulling my leg or whatever it might be, but I got swept up in it.
No, I get it. It's like superstitions. Like everybody's like, "Oh, superstitions are dumb," but then everybody does them because you're just like, just in case.
Yeah. And
you can't touch the fairy tree because if you do that, you get in a car accident the next month.
Yeah, it's bad.
Damn.
So I don't want to end it on that note, but it was a great place. It was an absolutely great place. I had a lot of fun. The food was phenomenal. Anyone that says
I was going to ask about the food. What was
you're not eating like porridge and like you're not eating like fucking beans and bangers and mash. You're eating like steak and fucking unbelievable mashed potatoes and really, really just like rich vegetables and good soups and very fresh salads. I don't know, like good. Great tomatoes with balsamic. We had amazing Italian food there that felt like from Italy. Small portions, homemade pastas, good sauce, great pizza. I don't know. I didn't have a single bad meal. Even the fish and chips at the pubs were like ridiculous. White cod that was lightly battered and lightly baked, and you had nice French fries on the side with great like homemade ketchup. Come on,
that sounds amazing.
Tartar sauce. It was great.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, people like to rip on the food there, but it seems like you worked out all right for you.
Yeah. No, it's I think if you got like the old school, like grandma's version of Irish, like homemade food, yeah, it's probably pretty bland. But the restaurants if you go to nice restaurants anywhere, you go to a nice restaurant in the middle of the fucking desert and have a good, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. We love getting out to live events, whether it's a concert, a football game, a comedy show. We are always using Game Time, the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. I've been on Game Time a lot this summer. We talk about experiences. You got to experience things. You got to go to concerts, shows. You got to be able to go on this app and just see what's in your town, what's in the town that you're visiting. You're sitting around the hotel room. What are we going to do tonight? Go on Game Time, Trent. It's about life experiences. And the best new feature is called Game Time Picks. Yep. I'm on this app right now. The Orioles are coming to Citi Field to play the Mets. You click on it. You go to the GT Picks tab. And on there, it's already going to filter out all of the thousands and thousands of tickets that you don't want to see. It's going to give you the greatest deals on the greatest seats available. So this is Game Time picking what they think is the greatest spot for you. I'm looking at a ticket right now for $1 in Citi Field to go see the Orioles versus the Mets. You could sit on the field level for $13, $38. I'm seeing on the first baseline in the second row. This is what I'm talking about with Game Time. You got to be able to check it out just for your peace of mind. Say tonight, like, what are we going to do? At least I know this is what's available for me. Go to the GT Picks, pull up your chosen event, turn on GT Picks at the setting of the top screen, and browse the best local Game Time Picks Game Time Picks deals near you on your Game Time at homepage. What are you waiting for? I'm telling you right now, get to that next baseball game, get to that next comedy show. I mean, I saw the Gin Blossoms are coming to town.
I saw that too.
It's you got Pretty Lights, US Open Tennis Showdown, Chelsea FC Women. It's nonstop stand-up comedy. Like I said, Gin Blossoms, Avatar, The Last Airbender in concert. It's nonstop.
I also think people just need to have an awareness of the events that are going on around them. Like, I think things happen and people don't even realize it. But if you go on Game Time, set your location to where you live, it's going to bring up music, sports, all the things that are going on. You'll have a date, you'll have a price for a ticket, and then you should just go and do it. I feel like people don't even have an awareness of what's going on, so they miss a lot of stuff. But if you go on Game Time, set your location, it'll bring up everything that's going on around you, and then boom, for the cheapest price, you can go do it thanks to Game Time.
Make sure you go to the Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app today and use code FORE, F-O-R-E, to easily score great deals with new Game Time Picks. What time is it? Game time.
So when did you get back then?
Thursday.
So you've had the weekend. You've had the weekend to decompress a little bit.
No, I went straight to DC for the Barstool Pickleball Open,
which
was electric, of course, in our nation's capital. Went straight from Dublin to DC. I'm just seeing all the cool shit. We did go. Trent and I, we ripped fucking scooters around that city.
So back when COVID was in full force, you and I were driving back and forth to Pinehurst a decent bit, just because we were down there to film videos. And one of the times on our way back up, at that point, I didn't realize how big of like a DC guy you were. And it was like 2 a.m. We were just kind of huffing it to get back. And you were like, let's stop in DC and rip around on the scooters. I did not want to do it. I ended up doing it, and I had a great time because DC at that time of the night is great because there's nobody out. We were standing next to the Lincoln Monument. There's 0 people out there. It was fun.
We just did that 2 nights ago. Me, our guy Justin Mancini, Kyle, and then our guy Ben from Pickleball Den. We went to a great dinner and we said, why don't we just get on these goddamn scooters tonight and we just rip around. It is such a life hack. And I'll close it on this. I always say that there's great history in all these other places you go. You do all these tours in Ireland and Italy. There is amazing history. But then you go to a place like DC and you see all these monuments and you're like, I know it's not as old, but we got some pretty fucking cool stuff going on here.
The mall Washington, can go toe to toe with anyone.
Washington, D.C., when you step foot inside that Lincoln Memorial, the Lincoln Monument, whatever you want to call it, and you see Abe sitting there overlooking that pool, and he's looking down at the George Washington Monument, and behind that you see the Capitol building, and to the left of that you see the White House, and everything's lit up, and you go at night, and there's 0 people there, and you could do, you could do like the Mr. Deeds, my back hurts, and it rings out into these high Greek, like metropolis type buildings. You're like, we did something fucking right here, man. Like, there is some serious history going on right here where I'm standing. And I got a nice American boner. I did. I stood there on those steps. I looked out and I said, this is what it's all about. This is what I am talking about. Fuck all those 1,000-year-old bars. Fuck all those 1,000-year-old bars. I don't give a fuck. I'm looking at Abe Lincoln looking out at this pool, and I'm looking at Jenny running across that thing at Forrest Gump, and I'm saying we got something pretty fucking cool here too. You know?
Absolutely.
Which brings us perfectly to Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh yeah,
You know?
Perfect.
Hot as balls there. Yeah, I mean you didn't go, but
balls. I've never been. I will never go. I've made a line in the sand. That's one tournament I'll never go to.
So let's talk about the FedEx Cup, because I know you made a video about it, and I largely agree with it. This thing needs an overhaul, right? But I don't know what it is.
It definitely needs an overhaul. But again, I remember. I looked back at this back in the days when Strategic Sports Group was sort of first getting involved. This was all the way back in February. Even before that, they were kind of talking about 2025 was going to be the year where we started to see some real movement in the schedule. I remember there was a Rory quote where he said, I think 2025 is when you're going to have, really sort of an indication of the future and where it's going. They released a 2025 schedule. It's the exact same thing. So I don't know if it's 2026 or what's going on. But the FedEx Cup Playoffs, the Tour Championship aside, which I have some issues with the starting strokes. This year it's you get a situation where somebody is so far out ahead, like Scotty is, and then he plays one bad round and he doesn't win. You could finish 15th in the FedEx Cup. And I think he himself saying this pretty clearly and kind of one of the most fired up I've ever really seen Scotty. He's not a complainer. But he does not like this FedEx Cup. He doesn't think it's a season long race. And I think him saying that early in the week kind of, restarted another cycle of like, what are we really doing here? And I think in this era in golf, when the majors matter more than ever before, and that's, because of Liv and and the top talent being, whatever the causes are, is not so important as the reality, which is the majors are way more important than ever. You're now trying to drum up interest in a competition that is basically just monopoly money.
Yeah.
It doesn't really mean anything. Hideki Matsuyama got 3 times the amount of points for winning that tournament in Memphis than Scotty got for winning the Masters. And it's just like, it just doesn't mean anything. It just doesn't mean anything. It's pure. The only drama yesterday was whether 3 guys were going to get into the signature events next year guaranteed, or if they might have to play a little bit well next year to get into them or get sponsor invites. There just isn't. And I understand the seasons are, and people always say, oh, well, playoffs, that's what playoffs are all about, where it goes to 0, right? And if you don't play well in the playoffs, then you don't win the season long. But in those other sports, in hockey, in basketball, in football, the playoffs is the prize. Winning the playoffs, that's what the sport is about. It doesn't matter who wins the regular season title, really. I mean, in hockey, they give out a trophy for it, but you're measured in play. You're not measured in FedEx Cup championships. You're measured in majors, and those have already been handed out. And so you've got a situation right now where it's not an accurate depiction of how the year went, and it's not the prize. So what is it really doing?
It's a shit ton of money. But
it's a shit ton of money. But what does that really mean to the people watching? It matters to the players. Matters to the players.
How do you fix it? Fix it?
We've been talking about this for years. What they've done over time is just throw a lot of money at it, and that doesn't ultimately make anybody, and certainly in the viewer, care about it. But I also don't know what you do.
Well, it used to be like, I remember when the FedEx Cup first started and the guy was going to win $10 million for winning the FedEx Cup. And that was like unheard of money in the sport, right? Because Tiger won in 2000, he won $9 million. Money is no longer a differentiator, right?
Right.
Like,
yes,
there is money everywhere. If it's about money, they're going to go to the other tour. And so I don't know, Frankie. It's a good question. My video was a big complaint. Didn't have a lot of solutions.
I saw Scotty basically complain that it's the race to see who had the best season, but Scotty clearly already had the best season, and then he could just play one bad round of golf and then not win that season long trophy and all of that money, which I get, right? Like if he just doesn't play well at the championship, it is what it is, regardless of his stroke, what do they call it? Like, I mean, just differential.
Starting strokes.
He's starting strokes differential. He starts at 10 under, this guy starts at 8, whatever it might be. But isn't that the same thing as every other sport where like you could win the President's Trophy in hockey and then just lose the first round just if you don't play well? Like, I mean, isn't he just describing sports? Like that's just his championship. He's got to like finish it off. He's got to finish off the season, doesn't he?
But it's not his championship. That's not what he cares the most about.
That's the difference, right? And that's what Dan's talking about.
Saying it is, though.
No, I know, but like
they're wrong. They're wrong.
They're wrong. The Stanley Cup is at the end of those playoffs. The Lombardi's at the end of those playoffs. The Larry O'Brien's at the end of that. Like those are the things that matter. The season,
but you have to win those games. Like if the Patriots go 18-0 going into the Super Bowl or 19 whatever, they still have to win that final game. Like they're not just handing you a Super Bowl because you played the best, the longest, the entire season. So like Scotty has to
hand out the Masters, but they don't hand out the Masters based on who plays well the entire season. What I'm saying is the carrot at the end of this thing doesn't really mean anything. So it's like,
yeah, but Scotty,
I think they tear the whole thing down. I think
Scotty was complaining more about the fact that they're basing like the best of the season off of like one last round.
What's the soccer league that does? There's no playoffs really. It's just
all the soccer leagues. All the
that's what they do.
Europe, just at the end of the season, whoever is the winner is the winner.
Yeah, but I hate sometimes that. You need a game.
Sometimes you get an electric final day, and sometimes it's already decided.
Yeah,
you need a game, man. You need one last performance, cherry on top.
Maybe just make it 1 year-end tournament, right? Where Scotty's already into it, and these guys have to play. You got to do something because I was watching it yesterday, and they're trying to make up this drama of like whether Nick Dunlap is going to get into the signature events next year. And like, I understand that matters for Nick Dunlap and his ability to make his own schedule. But like, I could not find a way to make myself care.
What is the thing that makes something valuable and like what makes the majors the majors?
History and like a locus of like comparison, right? Like that's how you win, you win 2 majors in 1 year and everybody knows what that means. Right? I mean, Brooks Koepka won 2 live events this year, but he played shit in the majors. And it's like, what is the importance of that? Listen, I acknowledge that they are dealing with a really difficult hand, that they have to buy the Ryder Cup. I think this is kind of a tangent, but they have to buy the Ryder Cup. Like if you're a strategic sports group and you're coming in there and you invested $3 billion or whatever it is, and your investment, the success or failure of your investment is going to depend on growing the PGA Tour, and you got to get one of those big events because they've done what they can to try to make this one of them, and it's just not.
Well, we're sitting here saying, and I agree with you guys, but this is the real problem with golf. It's like we don't care about the guy winning all the money, and we don't care about the Nick Dunlap barely clinging on to get into the events next year. That's just golf. That's the sport that we watch. Like that is the game that they have. It's a single sport. It's a singular player sport. There's no teams. They have all these guys going out there. They have a cut line. They have all these things that they can try and to achieve on personal gain. They win a lot of money if they win the event. That's just like, as fans of golf, that's what we have to just accept is cool. I don't know. It's not, there's no like Yankees versus Red Sox 7-game series. If you lose tomorrow,
they shouldn't be making
the next time.
Everyone and their mom shouldn't be making $26 million. I'm saying if it's going to be sustainable and they're actually going to grow this thing and make money on this, then they have to do, if nothing else, put it back in New York. Put the Northern Trust back in New York and the BMW in Chicago. Start there. And this is no disrespect to Memphis. Never been. That's by design. But this is no disrespect to Memphis.
Fuck.
I wouldn't say have a golf tournament in New York in the first week of November. There's just certain parts of the year where certain things are better. The golf, when they had it at Glen Oaks, I was looking at pictures when Spieth beat DJ. That was freaking electric. When they had it at Ridgewood back in the day, it was electric. And I'm sure when they have it in Philly, at Philly Cricket, I think it's next year, that will be great. You just got to go to places where it looks and feels big. Memphis, it looked like everyone was just super freaking hot. The golf course, because it's the hottest part of the year, is not in very good condition. You could see guys were complaining. Scotty was slamming his club in the bunkers. Dunlap was complaining about the lies in the fairway. It looked like barren. It just didn't look like a big event. It didn't look or feel like a big event. And the only reason it's there is because FedEx is paying the bills. And that's kind of the whole problem. It's like there's just the math problem is off. The guys are making so much more money and so much more money and so much more money, and it's not coming from the fans. And that has been what Strategic Sports Group has said they're going to do. Is it's all got to be about the fan. It's fan focused. You hear Rory at the thing. We got to do what's better for the fans. The product right now is not better for the fans. It's just not. They're just scared of the players leaving.
What does professional golf look like if Tiger Woods never existed? What does it look like today?
It's a good question. If he never existed,
it's a boring ass sport.
Like that's a bit what I'm saying, and I don't want to put it that bluntly, but what I am saying is the reason the purses are so big, the reason the viewership is up over time is because of Tiger Woods. If Tiger Woods doesn't exist, what does the sport look like?
Well, there's probably the Saudis probably aren't interested. I mean, there's sort of two bumps in pay. There was the Tiger bump, which happened when he started playing, and then the last 3 years, it's gone crazy.
Yeah, but the Tiger bump is not even. You can't even conceive how much your brain can't conceptualize how valuable Tiger Woods was to this game.
That's right.
Someone might be able to put a dollar amount to it, but that's wrong. It's more mental than it is anything. He made golf cool, which you really can't put a dollar onto.
Right.
You know, he made people want to watch it. He made people want to be a part of it. He made people want to try and do what he did. He set the bar for a competitive edge for people to now try and achieve that greatness now. So now, ever since he's done what he's done, the path to success for the people that come after him is at a elevated higher level now. It's priceless what he did for this game. Without him, it's a fucking snail's pace of progress.
Yeah.
What you guys are saying is kind of the answer that I fear, which is it's just not that popular, which is okay. But then we're in it. It's not okay. It's bad for us. I don't want that to be the case.
But it is popular. Like golf is popular. It's just there's like a minimal amount of attention span for how popular it can be, which has always been the case. It's the majors, it's the Ryder Cup, it's the President's Cup. It's these like big singular moments that the whole country gets around and we all rally around it. But that's pretty much how all sports are. It's just golf. It's more elevated to like a 1 week thing, but like the world doesn't care about the Yankees versus the Reds tomorrow. They care about like the big games that are on Sunday Night Baseball.
This is their crown jewel,
you know what I mean?
And they just got billions and billions and billions. So what are they? They're going to just do nothing. They're just going to hope that it grows.
Right. The problem with what we're talking about is that the main league of the sport doesn't have an event of consequence.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's because no other sport is like that. All the baseball we're talking about, the basketball, the football we're talking about, they own the biggest event at the end of the year.
Right.
And that's great. And that's where everything gets paid off and it's fantastic. It's just golf is so weird that the main league doesn't have a huge event that really matters.
Both main leagues. Live doesn't have one either.
Right.
So they're both.
Why aren't we as fans just allowing the Tour Championship to be the major? Why aren't we getting around it like that? What's the reasoning? Why can't that be their major?
You could.
Why?
I mean, it's hard to shift public opinion. It's.
No, but why? They're probably asking that question. Like, why is this
I'm sure
not
it drives them
the
fucking
last
crazy.
event?
Well, I'm sure it drives them crazy. Well, let me say this, though. They have done that with the Players. The Players is an event of consequence. I take that back. That event matters. It is listed when it's like, oh, he's got 4 majors and 2 players. Like, that's important. So that is their event. This FedEx Cup thing that they've been trying to work for years is just a lot of money, a lot of money, a lot of money. And I don't know what you do with that.
Right. Yeah. Golf probably doesn't need a playoffs.
Probably
it doesn't.
Not.
It doesn't. It doesn't do anything. It's almost like a little like
I'm glad we talked this
when
out.
They call it the playoffs, right?
Yeah,
because
we don't need
Scotty's
a playoffs.
Like at the end, and I like having the FedEx Cup during the year. I think that's a good thing. Like before, it's nice to have a list, and you're like, oh, he's having a great year. We have Pavone on the podcast. You're like, oh, you're 8th in the FedEx Cup. It's like, well, after the playoffs, I might be 63rd. Because the playoffs. I mean, the event yesterday was worth 3 times the points of a major. What are we doing? It's play money. It's monopoly money. It doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah, no, we've talked about this for like 13 minutes, and this is what good conversation does. Like, I'm just on the team now that we don't need a playoffs. We could sit around talking about why it's not popular. How do you make it popular? What should the format be? How do you get the fans involved? How do you get people to care? It's just don't do it.
I would argue that the 2 playoff events cheapen the Tour Championship. If you just kept 100%. The Tour Championship at the end of the year and put it at Eastlake and you had like 80 players or whatever, I think that would be. It's hard to try to, and it's 3 weeks in a row, and it's in Memphis
and just fucking make it an 80-person field, make it really hard to get into, make those last couple of PGA Tour events super important, the ones that are already PGA Tour events, not this fucking FedEx Cup playoffs, walking in Memphis, Mark Cohn bullshit. Make it be like if you're not there in the top 80, you miss this final event. And then you'll have a lot of people that'll get pissed off. They'll be like, I want to be in that thing. Maybe they'll care more throughout the year. They'll play in the 3M. They'll play in more PGA Tour events. They'll try and get their points up. Yeah, make it more limited. Make it more exclusive.
I think that's right. I think the first 2 playoff events are just dead. I'm going to one tonight. I'm very excited.
Football season may be beginning, but golf season does not have to end with the Rapsodo MLM2 Pro. You're seeing it right here on my screen. You can play more golf this fall, no matter where you are. I've got mine right here in the office, ready to open up, ready to use. I have an extra. I've got one in the bag and I've got one for the house because you can use it as a launch monitor or a simulator. I cannot wait to set this thing up. Okay, they have 30,000 simulated golf courses to play. They've got 13 metrics and 3 video replay options to analyze your swing. And this is all for $6.99. So it can be a mobile launch monitor in your golf bag, or you can take it home and practice with it, hit it into a net, hit it into a screen. Rapsodo offers all of these things. And they're offering our listeners an inclusive offer by visiting rapsodogolf.com/foreplay to receive a $50 gift card to rapsodo.com with a purchase of an MLM2 Pro. So whether you're looking to improve your game or improve your Saturdays with the boys, the MLM2 Pro is the solution for you. Play your way with Rapsodo Golf. Play without limits. Make sure you check it out at rapsodogolf.com/foreplay. I'm telling you right now, knowing your distances, Trent, is very, very important. I played in Ireland. I didn't have any gauge of my distances because I didn't have any of my stuff with me. I was traveling without golf clubs. I was traveling without my Rapsodo. It is a very difficult game to play blind.
Oh yeah.
You need to know what your clubs are going, how you're swinging it, what's your swing speed. This is data that you need to know now.
It also fits right in your bag. It's an amazing piece of technology. It's pretty small, fits right in the bag. And like Frankie's saying, you got to know your distances. It was featured in the Breaking 90 videos early on, being like, what are my yardages? How far am I going to hit this club? Because if you don't know those things, your game is going to be way, way worse. This is a very easy way to dial in your distances and become a better golfer.
MLM2 Pro. Make sure you go to rapsodogolf.com/foreplay for a $50 gift card to rapsodo.com with the purchase of an MLM2 Pro. Play your way with Rapsodo Golf. Play without limits, baby.
I want to see the strategic sports guys come in and do something. I'm ready for it because as of right now, it's just they've basically eased off the monetary pressure on the PGA Tour because they can pay the purses. They're less reliant on Wells Fargo or Wells Fargo's gone, but whatever the company, they're less reliant on BMW to pay. They have a little bit of money in the pockets. Now get in there and let's see some change. Let's see something. Maybe maybe instead of they have some big match play event in New York City at Liberty. Something's got to change.
The thing that's hitting me is like, all right, somehow you dwindle it down to 10 guys or whatever it might be. And instead of these matches, a Capital One match, and like they want us to go watch all these matches in Vegas on primetime TV, and they mean nothing. They're for charity. I get it. That means a lot to them, and it means a lot to the charities. But like for the fans, they want us to watch this meaningless golf that has no actual progressional meaning to watching it, which is what we like to do with sports. You watch a game, you want to know where that team is going. Do they have a chance to achieve something the next time that we see them? For golf, you need that, right? And that's what they're trying to do with the playoffs. Will Scotty Scheffler win the season-end championship? Will Nick Dunlap get to the next event? They're trying to create this. Watch this because you want to see if the guy makes it to the next step. That's what playoffs are. So why don't they do a thing where it's the seeded match play, or even just give me like the top 4 guys at the end of this thing, and you do a match where it's prime time. It's Scotty Scheffler versus Rory McIlroy. It's under the lights. It's 1v1 and like we get to watch that on Thursday. And then on Friday, we get to watch Xander Schauffele versus Justin Thomas. And then on Saturday, and like that whole week is dedicated to these 1v1 matchups. They own from Thursday to Sunday, 1v1 matchups. And we're moving towards who's going to get to the end of this thing.
You could even have Scotty waiting in the end as like the final boss.
Yes.
Right? Where it's like, some guy, he's on a road. Okay. He's got to play Colin. And then if he beats Colin, he gets to play Schauffele.
And you do it each night.
Like, how cool would that be? You get the right
to do it each night. You do it each night. It's on CBS. It's on Golf Channel, whatever it is. People are going nuts. They're betting on one guy versus another guy. It's in front of the whole country. One guy could get boat race, and it's like the talk of the nation. Like, holy shit, Colin Morikawa got his ass kicked by Xander Schauffele. Xander Schauffele's moving on. That's the big time moments. Those are the tweeting moments. Those are the send it to your group chat moments. No one's watching Thursday, Memphis. The first 10 holes of a 72 event stroke play event in the playoffs in 100-degree weather. No one gives a shit about that. They want to watch the cool shit.
I was a little bit for selfish purposes. disappointed that Scotty made like a 45-footer on the last hole for birdie to keep his. If he didn't make that putt, his lead in the FedEx Cup would have been basically gone. From Xander finishing second in that tournament and him finishing like 7th. And that was going to be the perfect of my video where it's like that lead's gone because Xander finished second, he finished 7th in this one tournament in Memphis. It just doesn't really mean
it also has no general population appeal. Like we have a golf podcast. We're currently on it. We're kind of in the nuts and bolts of this, and we're figuring out nobody who watches sports casually, which is the vast majority of the population, gives a fuck about FedEx Cup points.
Nobody was watching it. The Bob the Sports guys were at Joey Colcutt's wedding. Congratulations to Joey Colcutt. No one was sitting there watching. This wasn't one of those things where you had to pull out your phone to watch Memphis. This isn't the playoffs.
No, man.
This isn't the playoffs. Like, this isn't the Bruins facing the Rangers at MSG, and you're sitting
I would
there
argue
like,
they're
who's going to win?
spitting in the face of the word playoff. They are cheapening the word playoff.
None of the brands were watching it. I don't know. I saw No Laying Up was watching it, but they were getting mad at Tom Kim for getting pissed about missing a putt. Like that's like this. Is that even really watching it? I don't like. It's no one cares about it, man.
And you're also dealing with such a distracted, like you said. I mean, it's August. It's mid-August. Baseball's heating up. College football starts right around the corner. NFL training camp. You got to do something different. 72 hole stroke play at TBC
1v1.
It's just not going.
1v1 mano-y-mano.
The problem is this new group that's in there, they're just going to move money around. That's like what these groups do. They're putting money here. They're putting money there. They're not going to have, I would hope they would have like a brainstorming meeting where they're coming up with ideas like this, but they just want to keep this thing afloat and keep it rolling. Now, hopefully, maybe they have a couple people in the room who are like, maybe we try something crazy. Maybe we get fucking nuts with this thing. Tear it down, build it up, do something different. In the corporate world, I just don't think that happens. It never happens.
It's also tough because the players have more leverage right now than they've ever had before because of LIV. There's another option. And so before it was like, okay, we're going to try this new thing. And if the players don't like it, it's tough shit. Now, if the players don't like it, they can always turn around and say, it's just fucked. The Saudis have come in and the balance is just all off. You know, it's not, these are not natural developments that are happening in the sport.
Are the playoffs important for the top 15 guys, let's say, or is this essential for like players 20 through 80 to make their like big cash to like finish off their season?
The money is good, but if you finish in the top 50, so if you advance to this week, you're in all the signature events for next year, which is like a guaranteed $1 million, even if you finish dead last. And then the top 30 get into all the majors for the next year. You could still have that in some sort of year-end thing. You know, where you're still playing for majors.
I'm just thinking now, because we're still talking it through now, it's like you get rid of all of this, and are you getting rid of what the PGA Tour is trying to accomplish and spreading the wealth and basically giving an attaboy to guys that had a good season? Yeah.
Season's great.
Yeah.
The regular season's great.
Yeah.
I really think the regular season's great. I think the Wyndham, you'd get a lot more guys playing in the last regular season event, and it would be a more accurate representation of who's been the best player all year. You know, a guy can.
But how are you going to get FedEx to give all this money, though? How are you going to get FedEx?
Hopefully, they're not as with this new group. That's part of what the money is. But you're right. That's another issue. Is the sponsors, because you don't have a pool of $600 billion to dip into. It's not as simple as just saying, "Here you go." It's this. Is what I'm saying. It's all. I do not envy the people working at the PGA Tour these days. I really don't. I think they're fighting a really, really difficult battle.
We need another Tiger Woods. Just come out of nowhere.
Scotty's
yeah. But the sport of golf, we're talking at a very high level of like PGA Tour, LIV, FedEx. The game of golf is doing great in terms of like people playing
it. Why the PGA Tour is doing the things that they're doing the thing they're doing next week. They're trying to the Creator Classic. They're trying to hop on this wave, for lack of a better term.
Speaking of Creator Classic, there's a chance that you might see the crew. I know Danny Rath's going to be there.
What's the update on that? What's the update?
I don't know do we want to spoil it or do we not?
I don't think we want to spoil it, but some people might be there. Some people might not. We don't know. We might not be there. We might be there. We tweeted about it. Who knows if we got a reaction behind the scenes?
You got a reaction from Chad. Chad was tweeting about your position.
Yeah, no, we definitely ruffled some feathers. I mean, the tweets are great. There's nothing better than a night like that where you're just firing off some nastiness, and you're getting some responses. Everyone,
yeah.
I saw Trent's starting to smirk a little bit. We showed our teeth a little bit.
We talked about it on the last podcast that first we're glad that this thing is happening. Like
100%.
The PGA Tour getting involved. Now we don't have to rehash the whole thing because we did talk about it, but like it's great that it's happening. Then, like Dan said, they're kind of getting involved in this world that they clearly see there's momentum there. What we were saying is that we want more. If you want to show what the internet golf is, you got to include the people who are going to shoot 150. It's something like that to that point.
Speaking of that world, we've got a great video coming out tomorrow. Sutton Bay, South Dakota. Our little RV series rolls on, no pun intended. Jersey Jerry, Francis, Trent, myself. We went to this place, Sutton Bay. I just got to give a shout out to this personally. I know we like to shout out our videos coming out, but this place, Sutton Bay in South Dakota. It's going to come off like I'm an asshole. You can't go. I don't even think you could go play there, right? I mean, that way, saying it like that, I think is ridiculous, but I think that's true.
You can't.
It's like a private destination country club, which I didn't even know existed. We stumbled upon this place while doing this travel series. They reached out. They're like, listen, we can have you guys here. No problem. We'll set you up with cabins. You'll be right on the Missouri River. You're going to play one of the craziest looking golf courses you'll ever see in your entire life. And then you'll get on the road and you'll get to North Dakota. We didn't know what to expect. We showed up. The footage is going to be something that you can't even wrap your head around. I've seen some of the drone footage. It's the best we've ever done. And we've been to crazy places, Bandon, Cabot, all the places, Stream Song. I swear, I think the footage at this place is the best.
Yeah, that place is incredible. It's hard not to get like I'm not a great Instagram picture taker for the story. Every picture I took was a banger because you can't not show its beauty because it's so beautiful.
It's very, very unique. It's a layout I've never really seen before. It's a new golf course built on top of this huge ridge with the river going beneath it, and the old golf course is crumbling into the river because they didn't expect it to not be able to sustain where it was originally built. And you can see all the old holes like falling into the water, and they had to build the new ones up top. It's so fucking cool. And then we did the 2-man match play, myself and Jersey Jerry versus Trent and Francis. And then Francis challenged me to a 1v1 match afterwards in the twilight. I don't think that one's coming out yet.
Frank on Frank.
Frank on Frank. Yeah. Well, maybe we'll release that on like National Hot Dog Day or something. But it was an amazing, amazing match under the twilight. The sun was coming down. Really fun. So we've got some good stuff coming out. Make sure you check the YouTube and the Rumble channels because we've got some really good content coming out. We're on a pretty good heater right now. I know Danny's out filming good stuff with Trotty, and he's at the Kingdom. He's doing 9 at mine. I saw some stuff on the schedule that looks very, very exciting. So it's good.
Yeah,
we've
got another video. We're going across the country later this week for another one that I will update you guys on the show on Wednesday. But we got to go. I got to go play Trotty in this match. So I'm gonna have to let you guys take it from here. I'll see you guys,
Daniel. But yeah, it's been good stuff. I mean, I've been off the grid a little bit, which has been crazy. Taking that week off is nuts, you know?
Yeah. When you don't have to pay attention. I mean, we're always paying a little bit of attention, but yeah, you'll come back and be like, damn, things have changed. But now we're just back.
We are just back. I haven't played golf in a while. I mean, I played 9 holes at that Ashford Castle with my dad. My dad played well. He shot like a 45.
Oh.
He made it was a shorter course. It was playing like 3,100. So yeah, it would have been like a 6,200 yard course. It was good. Yeah, he played good. He played well. And we had, and they had all TaylorMade clubs for us. And QI 10s, the QI irons I hit, the lefty ones, those things are they are juiced. I mean, you want to talk about, I was hitting 9 irons, like 165 yards. It was nuts. It was so much fun. I was launching these things. All protein bars generally taste the same, but not One bars. One made protein bars are actually delicious with Reese's and Hershey's. As you can see, my man Trent Ryan has his very own One bar in his hands. We use these all the time on the golf course because we need an on-course golf snack that tastes good, makes us feel good with only 3 grams of sugar, but 18 grams of protein. Trent, talk to us about the One bars made with Reese's and Hershey's.
They are phenomenal. They are delicious. And you're right. I just throw a couple in my bag and then kind of forget that they're in there. And then, man, like on the 7th hole, it's like, man, I'm hungry. Didn't really eat breakfast. What can I have? I go into my bag, boom, there's a 1 bar. You eat it, fills you up, tastes really good. I can't speak highly enough. There's the cookies and cream, and there's the Reese's peanut butter. Get yourself a 1 bar, try it for yourself, and I guarantee you will continue ordering them and continue eating them.
Only one Reese's peanut butter lover protein bars are made with Reese's peanut butter, and the one Hershey's cookies and cream protein bars is made with Hershey's cookie bits. 18 grams of protein and only 3 grams of sugar. We're talking about Reese's peanut butter and Reese's cookies and cream, 3 grams of sugar. So they also have other delicious flavors like birthday cake, maple glazed donut, and blueberry cobbler. We've been eating these on the golf course in all of our videos. I'm telling you right now, you will not regret it. You got to try new 1 Reese's peanut butter lovers protein bar and 1 Hershey's cookies and cream bars right now. Go to the store, get them. I'm telling you, you will not regret it. They are delicious. And I broke my toe this morning, which was fun.
How'd you do that?
I dropped a popcorn machine maker on it.
What are you, a cartoon character?
Yeah, and I actually screamed like I was in the Looney Tunes. I went, Yahoo!
That's like,
and I held, and my big toe thumped out like pop, 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 pop. Like one of those. Is it an anvil? What's?
Yeah, when you drop an anvil on your toe.
When you drop an anvil on your toe and you go Yahoo!
Yeah, that's you. You could have given me a billion guesses, and we'd be sitting here for years trying to guess how you hurt your toe this morning. Well, that was a very brief appearance by your big toe. You're giving away your feet for free. That's a no-no in today's internet world. Oh yeah, you got a nice little gash on there.
You know, it's moments like that. It's moments like that you feel lucky to be alive. You know, you take every day. You know, you take every day for granted, man. And something like that happens. Blink of an eye, I could have been gone.
Oh yeah, I almost died taking a piss at like 3 a.m. this morning. Just walking downstairs, pitch black, pretty much right out of a REM cycle. And you don't even really know what planet you're on, but you know that your bladder is full and you got to empty it. And you're walking around in the darkness. That's how I'm going to go. It's not going to be something cool. It's not going to be something ceremonious. It's just going to be me trying to empty my bladder at 4:42 in the morning. And I'm going to slip on some stair and I'm going to break my neck. Play this back when that happens, because it's so dangerous. Being alive is so dangerous that something as elementary as that could easily put you in the ground.
Dude, I mean, obviously I couldn't have died from a little scratch on my toe, but it hurts like really bad. But I got this popcorn, this like old school traditional popcorn maker. It's on these like old school wheels, and I was pushing it into this little storage room in the basement because I'm going downstairs after this to go build a little console table that I swear to God, I think it'll take me 10 hours. Like I sat there and I did the prep very well. I took every little piece out. There's 29 pieces. Okay. I took every little piece out and I laid them down in order. 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 29. Right. And I've got all the little nuts and bolts and everything on the side. And I stared at it all. And the first thing I did was I sat down on the couch next to it and I looked at it and I opened up TaskRabbit website to see when someone could come and how expensive it would be for them to just come down here in this basement and just build this thing, because I got a good deal on this thing. And the reason is because you got to build it yourself. And I don't want to do that anymore.
Oh, I have a bookshelf in my apartment here that I got when I first moved in. I put it together. I almost cried. It's like, I just don't, and people are like, oh, you guys are pussies. Yeah. I don't have that. I don't have that gene, that skill, that level where I can just get my hands on something and build it. Like that generation, that's my dad and my grandpa's generation. I also opened a TaskRabbit app and I'm like, how much is this going to cost? Because I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Now I'll say I was strong and I closed it out and I said, you know what, Frank, after the podcast, let's go downstairs. Let's get a nice icy water, put it down on the table, and let's just see where we can go. You know, start with page 1 and get to page 19. Dude, there's this one page that made me legitimately laugh out loud where it was like, all right, like number 1, you put number 1 on the ground, then you put 2 and 3 on the sides. And then let's say page 7 came around and it showed 30 nuts and bolts going in all these different. They squished an hour into one page where they're like, oh, and then on this page you just do this, and it's just what are you talking about? Do you know how long that's going to take? So I'm moving this popcorn machine to make room for this thing, and I'm pushing the wheels, and I go, and there's a little bit of a lip to get into this storage room, and the popcorn, the base goes down into the storage room, and the top just slides off it and goes straight down. And I'm talking the big glass, old school. It fell like this on my toe. Bop. Ah. And I went, ah.
Oh, man. That's, I mean.
So, I don't know. Knock on wood. I've had some wild situations like that where I've dropped like a weight on my foot or my hand, and I've never broken a bone somehow, some way.
Wow.
Knock on fucking wood.
I've never broken a bone either. I drank a lot of milk growing up.
I'm fragile. I'm frail. You'd think that I would break shit all the time. I'll probably fucking snap an ankle walking downstairs right now.
But you have that shoulder issue or that elbow issue.
The elbow, yeah, but that was nerve damage. I got nerve damage like you wouldn't believe. That's all from Pizza Reviews Rough and Rowdy. That Rough and Rowdy camera did some damage. My shoulder's fucked forever.
I can't believe Spider. I don't know if he does it anymore, but
I don't think he can anymore. It's too much.
Did you see that Spider? And this is Barstool stuff, so I don't know. He was on the intro to a Gucci Man album.
What?
It was unbelievable. These are the type of things you miss when you're in Ireland, which I totally get. He was on the Rubbin' His Racing podcast with a guest, and I guess the driver or whoever was on likes Gucci Man, and Spider asked him about it. And in the latest Gucci Man album, first track, opener of the album, is Spider asking the guy the Gucci Man question.
I can listen to this. I mean, I won't put it on because we can't
go on. You can just go to Gucci Man, go to his latest release. And the first voice you're going to hear is
of all trappers, the Gangsta Grills edition.
Press the first track. That's Dan Diorio. That's our guy Spider.
Fuck?
Spider, who is how crazy?
What the fuck?
How crazy is that?
That's the funniest thing I've heard. That's the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. Why is he the first song?
They're talking about Gucci Man.
Oh my god! I gotta call him, and I'm done with this.
I was texting him. And he's a big hip hop fan. I'm a huge hip hop fan. I know Big Ev was tweeting about it. Like, this is history that our guy Spider is involed in. Like, I texted him. I was like, this is the coolest thing I think that's ever happened. And he was like, dude, it's fucking nuts.
He didn't know. It just dropped.
It just dropped as far as I know.
Whew. That is some funny shit, man. That really got me. I can't believe it's just his voice. That's fucking all. Do you know how many people that are on such different like walks of life than like the Barstool world are listening to the Gangsters of All Trappers Gangsta Grills edition, and they're listening to Spider talk on his Rubbins is Racing NASCAR podcast inside the Barstool office? That's one of the funniest things ever.
That's Barstool Sports, baby.
Woo!
I'm glad I got to break that news to you. I thought you would have known that.
I did not know that. That's fucking phenomenal. Speaking of new albums, Post Malone's album, F1 Trillion, what do you think about that? Did you listen to it?
I haven't listened to the whole thing. I listened to his track with Billy Strings because I'm on a huge Billy Strings kick within the last year, I guess, now.
That song just makes you kind of just fucking bop your little hand.
I got to listen to the whole thing, but I would imagine it's great. I mean, Post Malone is like a chameleon of music. Everything he sort of dips his toe into seems to be pretty good, and it seems like he got features from artists that are very much in the country world. Like, I saw he had like the big names on there, but is it good?
So I love it. I think Post Malone has such a skill to find the chords and the melodies that are just make you feel good music.
Yeah.
You're going to listen to it on the radio, Circles, or even that song from the Spider-Man movie. Like, there's so many songs that he can come up with that are like, holy shit, like that's just a different sound that I really enjoy. It's more simple. It's more whatever you want to call it. He does this country album, and there's a time and place for music like this. Like, not every album needs to be like the really thought out, like, Zach Bryan or Tyler Childers, or like these like long form stories beginning to end. They have a meaning to them. They were, living on the street at once, or they were, there doesn't need to be like all this meaning. Sometimes you can have a guy that's just sitting in a studio with the biggest names in a genre, and he's like, let's just make good sounding music, regardless of what that, like, just like very consumable music. And that's, I think, what he nailed. Like, it's so consumable where you listen to it and you just feel good. You know what I mean?
I remember Rowan said something to that effect where he was like, what's the point of music? And it's at a certain level, it's just stuff that sounds good. And I'm with you because I'm really into the Sturgills, the Childers, the Zach Bryans, the Billy Strings. I'm very into that whole world. But when I was in Florida and we were on the beach, we put on like fun pop country, and that's the place for that. Like when I'm just hanging around and listening to music in my apartment, I am going to listen to those other guys. But when people just want to hang out and have fun, there's a place for just music that sounds good and makes people feel good.
Like that MEXICO for Me song with Billy Strings is like, you can't help but just kind of fucking snap your finger to it and tap your toes. You're like, there's no other reason for him making that song aside from making you feel good. You know, the melody, the cadence, everything that he did about that song was like, we're going to make people want to drink a Corona right now.
Yeah.
That's all that song is.
Yeah, I think music snobbery, and I think I've fallen to that sometimes, but if you just embrace what it is and the environment.
It's like, they make good music.
Nickelback makes great music.
They get a rap for being too simple. And what does that mean? To who? To what standard? Why would you compare that to anything else? It is just its own genre. Why are you not allowed to put that in its own category?
Also, the popularity is proof of that. Like, you can turn your nose up to something, but if it's widespread and mainstream, then it is what it is. It exists in that reality that people like it. So you can feel a way about it and be like, this isn't real music or this isn't real X and Y. But if the public responds to it, it has a place.
There's a difference between McDonald's and Au Cheval.
Yes.
But it's still fucking McDonald's, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's in every fucking corner of the world.
Not every meal ever can be A5 Wagyu.
No.
Sometimes you just want to go get a 20-piece chicken McNugget and rock the fuck out.
Keep it simple, stupid. But there's certain, one of the things I love about Post, and it's like, it gets like music snobby a little bit, is that he uses certain chords that you don't hear in mainstream music. There's a song with Luke Combs called, I think like I've Been Missing You Like This. And it's kind of like a slow, Missing You Like This, kind of like a slow, like love song about like missing like an ex-girlfriend or whatever it might be. And he uses this chord in the chorus that he kind of goes into like a minor, and like he kind of throws you off for a second. And it sounds so good. It's not that like progressive melody where it's going to hit that high note. He kind of goes one down, and you're like, whoa. If you listen to it, you'll hear it and you'll be like, that almost sounds like theatrical, like out of a play or like Broadway. It's almost, he did that with that song, and he did it with, I think like the Finer Things with Hank Williams. Like he kind of just like hits almost like you're listening to a Broadway play. There's certain chords and melodies that you would hear that are like traditional Broadway play, like theatrical chords, and he does it. It's fucking awesome. I love that about him. You could tell that he really loves that part of music. Like he loves throwing new things at you.
Listen, he can change all the chords he wants, but he's never gonna have a song that has Dan Diorio on it, and that's really what I look for in my music. You know what I mean?
True.
If you want to perk up my ears, I need Spider on the intro of your album.
That is one of the funniest things I've ever heard in my entire life.
Barstool has like a weird, they were on sort of a run. Wasn't Dana Beers? Oh no, the guy Dana Beers was interviewing was on like the opener to Zach Bryan's album, where he's like, you got to go fast and left. And left. That was Dana Beers was interviewing that guy. So I don't know. It's weird.
Fast and left originated with Dana Beers.
Yeah. You never seen that interview?
I have seen it, but I don't remember that was Dana Beers. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's interviewing him at a NASCAR race. I'm not sure which one. And then it was on like one of the opening tracks of the Zach Bryan album.
That is so fucking funny. And then Dana Beers chugged a beer with fucking Luke Combs.
He did do that. And now he's trying to do it with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, which he'll do. He'll nail that.
You have to.
Been hungry for some college football? Well, we finally get a taste this weekend. Don't miss any of the action. Jump in at DraftKings Sportsbook. It's a small but mighty slate of games for week 0, including a big matchup in Ireland, which I was there. I saw all the signs for it in Galway. an amazing, amazing event that's happening in Galway. It's super easy for first timers to get started on the DraftKings Sportsbook. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. This is going to be DraftKings' biggest college football season to date. Enjoy the ride now all the way through the expanded playoffs. And for all newbies getting into the college spirit, here's something extra special. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. So score big with DraftKings all college football season long. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code FORE, F-O-R-E. That's code FORE for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Just $5. That week 0, big matchup in Ireland, $5 can get you $200 with code FORE. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Oh, I should probably shoot this basketball. I haven't shot.
Oh yeah, it's been a while. You still haven't made one, is that right?
I have not made one.
I thought you made the last one, but it was in and out. Let's see it here. He's got it. He's dribbling like it's a real basketball.
From Skills, SKLZ. We have a great partnership with them. Go get our stuff at Dick's Sporting Goods, Golf Galaxy. We've got all the training aids. You can even get a little basketball hoop for your office.
Beautiful. Here we go. Come on now. Oh, not even close, honestly. I don't even know if that touched the top of the backboard.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else. But you're 0 for however many times we've done it.
I think like 6 now. 0 for 5. I'm never going to make that thing.
Nope.
I listened to Adam Sandler and Joe Rogan. That was a great episode.
I need to watch that. I do need to watch that.
Here's one thing. Our guy, Justin Mancini. So we had the Barstool Pickleball Open down in D.C. Great event. We're like 4 for 4 at this point. We have Connecticut coming up, and then we've got the Long Island one in September and October. Super excited about that. But it was Saturday, and we got pushed. We were supposed to go on Sunday. We were supposed to do the event on Saturday. The venue pushed us to Sunday. It was a nightmare. So we were changing all our flights around, and I was supposed to fly out Saturday at like 4:00. And then my flight, it was like 2:00 in the afternoon, and my flight kept getting pushed. So it was like 4:00. I was supposed to go to 5. And then from 5, I was supposed to go to 6. So at 2:00, I got in my car and I drove down to DC. I said, I'm fucking taking control of this. I'm dominating Delta. You want to push me? I'm going to cancel my flight and I'm going to get in the car. I'm just going to drive. You don't own me. I'm not going to sit around and wait for you anymore. Yep. I can just get there by 7 and I'll just meet the guys at dinner and we'll rip scooters around. You don't define me. You know what I mean?
Right. That's right.
So I got in the car. I got down to DC. It was a little longer than I anticipated because there was flooding. So like at one point, the whole road flooded down in front of DC and like 4 lanes went to 1. That was a nightmare. But I got there at like 7:30, met the boys for dinner. It was great. Then I had to drive home and everyone was kind of making fun of me that like I'd have to drive home in all that traffic. And you start to get those like those doubts of like, why did I do this? Now I got to go sit. There's like, and Justin Mancini's like, there's Jersey beach traffic. They're laughing because like they're going to the airport, whatever it might be. So I'm in the car. I had a 2-hour head start on them. Their flight was at 4. I got in the car around 2. And I start to get these updates on my phone. I guess they never canceled my flight, but like the flight started to get pushed to 5.
Oh, yeah.
And it started to get pushed to 6.
Yep.
Now I don't want to say that I started to get happy, but like I wouldn't be honest or a human if I didn't admit that it made me feel decent that decision started to make sense, that why I drove. You know what I mean?
That's fine. Yeah.
To the point where their flight, so all of a sudden I get home and Justin, and now I start to unzip my pants. You can too, along with me.
You texting him?
No. I was being very polite. I didn't want to rub it in. I didn't even want to text him about it. I saw the updates myself. I didn't want to rub it in.
Take a selfie.
Didn't do any of that.
Okay.
I get a text message at like 6:00. He goes, buddy, you made the right decision. We just got to the gate. Flight canceled out of DC. And that's when it's like, just start fucking yanking it because you made the right decision. I'm home now. And he goes, we're on our way to the train. And I said, no way am I sitting home right now watching the Yankees blow a lead against the fucking White Sox. I'm like, there's no way. So I'm sitting there at like 11 o'clock at night. He's still not home. Their train got delayed because of the flooding. They had to sit on the train for like 2 hours to clear out the fucking the train tracks. This guy got home after midnight.
Oh,
damn. I was in REM sleep.
Yeah, you made the right call. I was supposed to be at the Rochester Classic today, and my flight got canceled out of LaGuardia last night. They canceled every single flight in the world out of LaGuardia last night.
That's wild.
I sat on the runway for 3 hours. Got on. My flight was supposed to take off at 3:30. Got on at 3:00. Everything was normal. It was like, oh, I'm going to take off. I'm going to be there. I'm going to go to the bar. I'm going to go have dinner in Rochester. Boom. Started pushing it. 3 hours later, we go back to the gate and they just cancel it. And I just walk out and I go home. I just went right home. I was like, it's 8:00. I can't get to Rochester. I can't go to the Barstool Classic. I'm going to go home. I got an Uber and I came home.
Good that you didn't have bags. You had to like wait for them to get off.
Dude, I almost checked my bag just because I had time and I was like, oh, why not? I'm so glad that I didn't. Because you're right. I'd be waiting around for that thing. And I wouldn't have had to check it for any reason other than like, I don't want to carry my duffel bag to the airport. No, I was like, all right, I'm going to keep it. And yeah, I dodged a bullet with that one. But I sent you guys a picture. I put it on Instagram too. They canceled every flight out of LaGuardia.
Every flight. I saw Lurch got canceled coming out of Nashville. Just fun. It's just fun.
After we got off, they hadn't canceled my flight yet, but I got off. I got back to the gate. I was like, I got to take a piss because we've been sitting for 3 hours. And near the bathrooms at LaGuardia are all of the screens. And I went and take a piss. I came out and there were 150 people looking like ghosts just staring at the screens. Their whole night ruined. And I was like, this sucks for everybody. But
on our way to Dublin, there was like that moment where we thought we were going to get canceled. Every flight on the board said canceled or delayed except for the one to Dublin. And even the one to London, Heathrow, was canceled. So we were like, we're fucked. And we got delayed an hour. So we were sitting there in the Delta Sky Club and we're like, it's over. Like it was like right after I got on the podcast with you guys, I'm like, something's going to go wrong on this Ireland trip. I know it. I thought we were going to get canceled and then the next day we weren't going to get a flight. Like I just felt it. And somehow, some way we just took off. It was nice. But there was that line. They have that help desk at like JFK or at LaGuardia where they have like 3. It's inside the terminal. It's all the people that got their flights delayed. Sometimes they'll have the phones that you can pick up and you can talk to an agent. But this one, when it was a help desk, we counted. It was 4 gates long, the line. By the time the person at the end of that got to the help, there's no way any flight was available. You know what I mean? There's so many people in front of them that they're all trying to go to the same place. No, everyone got their flight canceled.
Yep. That shit's a nightmare, man. Airplane travel can be a nightmare. Like if it doesn't work and it's just, you're just sitting there and you're like, what the fuck do I do?
I've got first world problems.
Yeah.
That I need to talk about.
Oh, okay.
Like real first world problems that I need to talk about.
Let's hear
So if you don't want to hear these problems, you can stop listening right now. But I need tech savvy people to help me. I've got a 3 TV setup that I'm working.
I got
with in
13
the basement.
steaks over here.
I got 13 steaks right here. Listen, Trent Ryan gave me a TV. His TV was too damn big. We talked about this. His TV was too damn big. So I got this TV, right? I ended up having to build a wall for this TV. That's how big this TV is. I had to build a new structure to hold and house this television. It's a burden. It's an absolute burden. So this is what I did. So I got the TV. I centered it on the wall. I had my old sound bar that I had in my living room. I ripped that thing off the wall. I'm like, Hannah's like, what's going on with my sound bar? You don't need a sound bar up here. All the sound bar stuff's happening in the basement now. You know what I mean? So now I'm like patching up holes in the wall upstairs. It's a nightmare in this house right now because I'm just pulling things off. We had it all set up nice and I'm yanking things off walls and I'm bringing them downstairs. Then this guy that helps us out with our house, he like does all electrical stuff for us. This motherfucker, I got surround sound. I've had surround sound and it's been working forever.
Yeah.
And there are these 2 little rear surround sound speakers, right? And I used to have them on the edges of my couch. I didn't have them drilled into anything. So now I have my basement and I say, hey, can you drill these things into the wall, like behind the couch? I want them up in the air. So he puts outlets up because this is like one of our family friends. He's like the best. He'll put an outlet anywhere. He'll put an outlet floating in the air if you want.
Yeah.
He has outlets like on the ceiling for me. So I can plug these wireless surround sound speakers in and they're going to angle down towards the couch. So I'm down there with him and I'm kind of like messing around with some stuff in the basement. We're doing some wiring, whatever. And I'm going to get to my first world problem after this. And I hear him drill something and I go, what are you drilling over there? And he took the bracket. So the bracket called for 2 screws, but the actual speaker called for 1. And this guy took a screw and drilled it into the back of the speaker in a spot that does not house a screw. Do you understand me?
I
he
do.
just drilled it in. And he goes, oh, it's nowhere near any of the stuff. Like, he goes, it's fine, right?
That
So I said,
speaker's not
all
gonna
right,
work.
right? So I go to turn them on and they don't work. And he goes, huh, it must be a connection issue. I go, you just drilled into these things are like $400.
Well,
And he left.
That's like drilling into the engine part of a car, just taking a huge drill and going right through the heart of the engine, and then being like, I don't know why your car's not starting. I don't understand why that's happening.
Under my breath, I go, there's got to be like a motherboard there. So there's got to be something on the back of this thing.
There is some chip that he drilled straight through.
Bro, it's a wireless speaker. The back of that speaker houses all of the technology. Where does he think it is? It's obviously not like in the middle or in the front.
Oh,
so
that's great.
they're not turning on. They're not turning on. So I got to get new ones. So here's my issue. I got 3 TVs. Okay. What I thought of was I have a Verizon box. It's a wireless TV box. I've got them upstairs. It's a cable box. I have this. I have the box attached to my big TV. So now everyone that knows technology, listen to me very carefully. I've got a box behind the TV. I got an HDMI splitter. What I did was I took an HDMI cord from the Verizon box. I put it into the main input into the splitter. So that footage is going into the main port. Now I've got 2 HDMI cords going out. One going into the big, massive TV that no one can even handle, and one going into the bottom left TV out of my 3 TV system, thinking that if I'm playing Xbox or whatever, I can have. So basically, it's going to push out what's happening on the cable to both TVs at the same time. So that on the big TV, I can change the input and I can be like, oh, I could put like Netflix on the big one, but I could still watch a live Islanders game on the bottom left or a Yankees game. I don't have to like stream it. I can get whatever's on that big TV on the bottom left TV. That was my thought, right?
Okay.
And it was working. Here's my issue is the sound bar that's connected to the big TV is losing its mind. It doesn't know if it should be getting the audio from the bottom left TV or if it should be getting the audio from the big TV or from it doesn't know what to do, so I can't get it to work. I'm watching this TV in silence right now. So I had to unhook it all, and I can only do the one TV viewing. And the bottom left TV and the bottom right TV have to be they have to be fucking like whatever, stream stuff. So all of my ideas have now gone out the window. So if there's anyone that knows how to figure out HDMI ARC audio to only go to one TV when you're splitting it to 2, you got to reach out to me today.
Yeah, I have no answer for that. That's above my pay grade.
I'm trying to do it all myself. It's like a DIY project, and it's been nice. I got the TV. I got these 2 little cheap ass fucking TVs off of it. TVs are cheap now, by the way. If you get those little 32 inches, they're like $100 for like a little like Amazon Prime TV, and they're great.
The only thing there where they fuck you, because in my experience, when I bought a cheap TV like that, was the audio. The audio is no good.
Right.
But if you have a setup like you have, where you're just you're probably keeping the audio on the main one most of the time.
That's all I'm trying to do.
Right. Then you're the bottom ones, the audio doesn't matter. It's all, nowadays, dude, TVs, the technology is so advanced. They're so cheap. The picture is crystal clear. It's just the audio sometimes isn't as good, but if you're not using it, fuck it.
Easy Go golf carts aren't just for golf. You can hit the neighborhood, you can hit the beach, you can go to a tailgate. With Easy Go, it's good to go, even if you don't have anywhere to go, really. I'll take an Easy Go cart anywhere. There's no limit to where I will drive an Easy Go cart if they let me.
They're so comfortable. They're sweet.
They're comfortable. They're efficient. The wind is hitting you from the side, from the front. You feel like you're on vacation, even if you're at home. If you're in a place where you can drive an Easy Go cart and you're not, you need to reevaluate your life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You drive it around the neighborhood. You can also customize it. All these different colors, all these different features. You can get bigger ones. You can get smaller ones. We've got one at the Barstool Classic usually, and I drive that thing around, and it's like, yeah, why drive anything else like around your neighborhood or around the golf course? It gets you there. It's beautiful. I love these things.
Go to easygo.com to customize your ride. Pick a sweet paint job. Throw some lifted tires on there. Add speakers. Building your Easy Go is half the fun of it. I mean, I know that Riggs does that at the Riggs Cottage. We did that at the Barstool Classic.
Yep.
We customized it as much as we possibly could, and it came out awesome. So it's hard to put the Easy Go difference into words, but it's just really easy to feel once you take that test drive and you feel an Easy Go. It's the greatest and America's leading golf cart brand out there. So feel why it's good to go with Easy Go golf carts. Build yours online and get $1,000 off when you request a quote with the code fore-play at easygo.com. So make sure you use that quote fore-play, FOREPLAY, when you request that quote, and use that code at easygo.com for $1,000 off. We were having a conversation over some drinks in Ireland. I was talking to my dad about how everything's getting so expensive. Houses are getting so expensive. Cars are getting so expensive. How are people going to survive? And like all my friends, like everyone's struggling to get a house right now, whatever it might be, because it's just out of control. Your increases in your wages aren't matching the increases in the price of whatever. And I was like, and then we were talking like, how could it ever come down? Like, it's the cat's already out of the bag, right? Like, isn't it already the price and that's just gonna keep going up and up and up? And at one point I was like, nothing has ever come down. And then I said, well, fucking TVs have come down, actually, if you think about it. Like, as technology has advanced, sure, the higher end ones have really, there's never been a $5,000 TV before, but now there is. You can get a 6K, 8K, whatever it might be, crazy OLED TV. But the general TVs, the quality has gone up from, let's say, 10 years ago, and the price has definitely gone down. If you tried to buy a 40-inch flat screen TV back in like 2010, it probably cost you so much money. And now it's like $98 on Amazon. It's at your door in 6 hours. Like, that whole industry has kind of come back down to earth where, the average person can afford like multiple TVs for all their rooms and stuff. Like, you can get one in the living room, you can get one in the basement. So I don't know, maybe things can come down. That was I don't know if everything's a TV, but
well, I guess if you're looking at it where if you're trying to buy the cutting edge of anything, you're going to pay a premium because that's the newest thing. But with TVs, it's like if you even the floor of a flat screen TV is nicer than it was in the past. So it's like
so much nicer.
Right. So that I don't know if every industry is like that though. You know what I mean? Like
right.
It's the one thing where it's like, yeah, if you don't want the tip top thing, you don't want to pay $6,000 for whatever the newest thing is, the lower tier, it's still good enough where the price is now lower than it used to be.
Right.
I just don't think everything's like that.
Right. Yeah. No,
like
TVs
houses aren't like
me.
that.
No. Cars should be like that because they make shitty fucking cars, but the prices keep going up.
Yeah.
But whatever. Fun stuff. I got nothing else really.
I don't think I do either.
Kyle Timms, you got anything?
No, just excited for Sutton Bay coming out Wednesday.
He's editing it.
Currently,
you are at it. Yeah, it's a good episode, is it not?
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, it's amazing. Because the match is so good, but then like the scenery is so good too. So it's just you get everything. Comedy, good golf, good setting.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah. It's a good video.
Fuck yeah.
Have your eyes open for Breaking 85. We're going to start filming those soon.
Yep. First episode we're filming this week, I think.
Yep. All right.
All right. I guess that's it. Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.